Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining my session, and welcome to I Didn't Know PowerPoint Could Do That, which sounds horrendously cheesy, but that's actually what I kept saying as I dug into the rabbit hole of the cool stuff PowerPoint could do. Before I start, once you know you're definitely in the right place, my name is Amey Holden, and I just want to start with the code of conduct for today. So the M365 May had the code of conduct. You can read it for yourself, but it's basically about equal opportunity for anyone, regardless of what they have or don't have. We don't tolerate harassment, and we just want to be here to enjoy each other, right? So let's all be friends. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. So a little bit about me. I first of all would like to thank you for coming and listening to me talk about the amazing PowerPoint. It's ironic that I made a PowerPoint about PowerPoint really, but that's another topic. Despite looking like I'm fresh out of college, I've actually been working with Dynamics and the Microsoft Power Platform for about 6 years now. And my little brand, I like to say, is that I'm an ABC consultant. So that stands for anything but code. And thankfully, the Power Platform lets me pursue that dream quite easily. You might tell from my accent that I'm from England. I moved to Australia a year and a half ago now, and right now I'm pretty stuck here, and it's a great place to be stuck. When I moved here, I also discovered gluten-free Vegemite, which changed my life forever. I'm probably more known for my work around Dynamics marketing and also with Power Automate. I'd say they're my two favorite friends from the Power Platform, but we're all friends in the Power Platform, right? So, to the PowerPoint about PowerPoint. Also, while I'm here, happy to take questions at any time. So Laurent is kindly managing the Q&A. Questions at any time, happy to be interrupted. So feel free to interact as we go. So this is kind of what I call an old school agenda. So you've got an agenda, you say what you're going to cover. It's pretty exciting. So the first thing I didn't know PowerPoint could do is the new cool way to do agendas. So this is something called Zoom. So I want to make sure everyone's sat or stood comfortably and doesn't experience motion sickness, because you might be a little bit unfurled by what's about to happen. The Zoom section is what we're going to go into now, and in we go. So this is something called Zoom. There's 3 ways you can do it, and I'm not talking about the video conferencing tool, which we all know and hate, or should hate, but don't. It's a much more immersive and engaging experience. It provides a much better flow to PowerPoint. But what are these 3 things and what do they mean? So a section Zoom. This is where I can say, I want to link back to a section I've already gone through, maybe to recap, or if I want to highlight something that I've done sooner. So you can see here, I can actually jump back and redo my own intro all over again, because it was that good. And I can jump straight back in where I started. The other way is we can do exactly the same thing, but change the image. So here you can see it's a smaller version of a slide, but I can get to the exact same thing, but change the image, which is way more fun. And it means I get to use emojis. And here I am back to my introduction section. And you can make these sections as big or as small as you want them to be. So let's have a look at summary Zoom. This is what we've just been looking at when you came to the start. And this is a summary of what's to come. It's basically like a landing page for your presentation. You've got everything in one place. You can skip ahead, you can revisit areas without interrupting the flow of your presentation and having to do that awkward, oh, got to go back 20 slides. Oh, yeah, that slide. It's really, really nice. And the last one we've got is our slide Zoom. So you actually, what I've done here to jump into these 3 is a slide Zoom. This is literally where I want to zoom into one thing. And then what I quite like an idea for this is, you know, when you want to put screenshots in, but the slide isn't big enough to show it and you're kind of scowling at the screenshot. So I'm going to talk about this screenshot here and you can't see the damn thing. But if I click on my slide Zoom, now you can see it. And this shows you exactly how you add in your zooms. So if you come to Insert, Zoom, you've got Summary, Section, or Slide. And I really recommend you go and play around with it. And like I said, however, you've got to know where you're going. It's a bit like a dance, right? So the other way is you can zoom down into a slide and you don't need to have the exact picture. So an example here, I've got one face emoji to a full screen of emojis. Does make you feel a bit seasick if you carry on. So I was having good fun with this and I was like, well, what's an actual useful use case for this? Let me show you. Here's an example of a really cool diagram done by yours truly. And I could perhaps make it so that I can click down into certain things. So if I want to click on, so you can see my, where is it? Where is it? Where is my, oh wait, my little pen's gone. Never mind. So I'm going to click down into my Powerups. So you can see I've got a bit of a clicker thing coming up here because I've set basically a slide zoom on this icon here. So I could be talking to you about the Power Platform and how amazing it is. And then I might want to drill down into what's a Powerup and what's this act thing all about. In we go. And hey, look, Powerups, there's 3 types of Powerups: model-driven, canvas, portal. I can then zoom back in again and give you an example of each one. And this is a really nice practical example, which I thought of about 2 hours ago, and I'm totally going to use it in a session I've got next week. So I can then dive down into each section and talk about each type of app. And there's some learnings you didn't expect to see from today, hey? Any questions on summary zoom, or is anyone thrown up yet? Like I said, you've got to be careful considering the sequence of where you're going, and you do need to kind of rehearse. It's like learning how to dance, and I'm not so good at dancing. Okay. So let's have a look if we go back up to our summary. So we've looked at Zoom. Let's have a look at the next one. Add and animate 3D images. So this one's a little bit fun, but I'm sure someone can think of a good use case for me. Right, so the first question is, how do I do it? Pretty simple. You've got Insert, 3D models, and you can either go from a file or from online sources. Then once you've thrown them on, you can animate them. Sounds pretty cool. It's even cooler when you actually do it. So let's have a look. I found also some really cool free 3D models at free3d.com because I didn't want to just use the ones that were already there. So let's have a look what we've got here. So I think this one is a pineapple. And is that just a yellow blob? Of course it isn't a yellow blob. Check it out. But is that all they can do? Pineapple and emoji say no. How about a little dance? Woohoo! There's so much you can do, and I got far too carried away making emojis dance. But that's just an example of how you can bring your PowerPoint to life a little bit more. I'm not sure how you'd apply this one in a business meeting, but I'm really going to try in the next few weeks. And I want you to try too. If anyone comes up with something, I want to hear about it. And I'm going to make these things stop because it's making me feel sick. All right.
Just one quick question. So, Alex has asked with regards to Zoom, is there any way for the presenter to see where they're at so they don't get lost? Or is it all memorization at this stage?
So I'm using presenter mode at the minute, and when I go into the Zoom, it does show me what slide is next. A bit of it is, though, about knowing what's coming next. It's a bit of both. It's not the best, and it depends because I've got a lot of Zooms within Zooms, so you can get lost down a bit of a one-way route almost. To some extent, the presenter mode helps because it shows you what's coming next, and it's cognizant of the Zoom, but it's not the best. Good question there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to something called Quick Starter, which means I'm going to quickly jump out of my PowerPoint to talk about this one. I had no idea this existed. So this is basically, you can generate an outline of a topic to basically get started on a PowerPoint, because there's nothing worse than looking at a blank sheet when you need to start a PowerPoint. So let's have a show me, tell me. all I do is come into PowerPoint, I go to File, I come to New, and you'll see here there's something called Start an Outline, Quick Starter. This absolutely blew my mind, okay? So I'm gonna think of something. I've never tried Vegemite, actually. This one might not work. So you can search for any word you like. Oh, hello. I can search for Vegemite. It also finds things that look similar. You hover over here. I can also report that it is an inappropriate topic, but Vegemite is not inappropriate. I can then select Vegemite, and I can choose what sections I want to include in my presentation. These are just ones that it's generated, again, thanks to it's pretty much powered by Wikipedia and Bing, and I hit next. Then I can just choose what look and feel I want for my slides using one of the pre-made templates they've got. So as you might tell, I like the white with blue splodge look. It's a bit of a thing for me. So I'm going to hit create. And PowerPoint's basically going to create my template of the cool things I can do. So the first two slides are kind of about an outline to get you started and the related topics that you've then got to go away and research. But what it does is it creates a whole PowerPoint template for you to get you started and kind of give you a bit of a focus about where you want to go. It even drops in some images. Ooh, that's not Vegemite. I've never seen that one. Oh my God, it is. Ooh, cheesy bite, yuck. Bands and rumors of bands. So it's obviously gone through Wikipedia, picked up some stuff, and basically created a whole template for us. I had no idea PowerPoint could do that. It had me absolutely speechless. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a pause here to let you know about the competition and also give you a chance to ask any questions you have at this point. So they're running a competition every week. I believe you scan this QR code and you can enter the prize. The prizes are pretty cool. I don't know what they are because I didn't win the prize. But if you're out, the chances are if you don't enter the prize draw, you're not going to win. That's a fact. Oh wait, I've done my autistic thing. Let me switch these around. I've stopped looking at everyone. 1 second, bear with. I just realized that's what presenter mode looks like for Zoom, by the way, guys. Let me switch it around. Ooh, there we go. All right. So let's go back up a level in my Zoom. No, I don't. And this is the thing with the Zoom. You need to make sure that you start from the summary. If I jump in anywhere randomly on my PowerPoint, it loses the context of the Zoom. So now you can see when I hover, I get to choose where I want to go. So let's go and have a look at subtitles and translations. Clue's kind of in the title, but basically what it's going to do is I can turn on my subtitles and it's going to, as I speak, listen to me and tell me exactly what I'm saying. Obviously, this relies on a fast internet speed. It's going straight through AI, turning my text, my speech into text. But that's not the only thing it can do. So we can also translate. So let me go to my subtitle settings, more settings. I will show you how I do this as well. Let's go and have a look how I can turn this to translate me to a different language. So, slideshow, presenter, subtitle settings. And here you can see that I can actually translate it into a whole heap of different languages. I don't know if anyone on the call speaks other languages, so you can't prove me right or wrong, but I'm intrigued as to how what I say comes out in Japanese. Let's have a look. I stick this on. Is it going to listen to me? There we go. So I'm being translated live into Japanese, which is pretty cool. I don't think Japanese works so well on the old subtitles, though. It looks like they need quite a lot of room to squeeze it all in. So that's pretty cool, but that's not it. So what we can do as well is change the color and format of the subtitles. So this is something that you can only do on your desktop. If you're using PowerPoint online, you can't do it. It's actually a Windows setting. So if I show you here, if you come to settings, come to closed captions, what I can actually do is change the format of my captions. So let's have a look at, let's make it raised. Let's make it absolutely massive. And here's an idea of what it looks like. I can also change the background color. So let's do a delightful blue background color, completely opaque. And the caption color, let's make it red. That looks great, huh? So let's have a look at that in action. Switch the old screens around, stick on the subtitles, and we will be able to see our Japanese blue and red highlighted subtitles. If that ain't life-changing, I don't know what is. I'm going to turn those off though, because they are horrendously distracting. Yikes. However, when you look at the subtitles when you're trying to present, it's really, really distracting and makes you realize how many times you say So the caption, sure.
Just a quick question. There was a question of, can subtitles be recorded to a document?
Oh, I have absolutely no idea. I would have to look. I'm guessing, I want to say I don't think so, but I also hope so, but I don't actually know. I do know, however, that some people might not have the option for subtitles. So I think it's restricted by company policy for some people around what their company allows. So I would just warn you that if you can't see it, it's not because that's because it's not there, obviously.
And
but I had to pay.
Sorry.
Okay, go on.
I was just going to say, you had another question, but I'll wait till you finish that one.
Yeah, so basically I had to completely strip down a computer and rebuild it from the ground up to make sure I had the latest and everything. It's to do with company policies and what version of Windows you're on. Go on, I'm ready. Question me up.
The next one is, someone has tried to copy slides from quick starter presentation into another slide pack using keep source formatting, but it didn't work. Any workarounds?
Why would you want to copy and paste it out? Would be my question back, but that's not very constructive. I have had problems copying and pasting slides because it doesn't bring the designs with it. I've had the same problem. That's to do with the design ideas side of things though. So what I would recommend is when you copy and paste, all the stuff is actually there, but it's because it's lost its design ideas formatting, which is an awesome segue to my next section. I did not plan this at all. So when I show you design ideas, bear this in mind when you copy and paste those slides, because you might think you're looking at a blank slide, but it's probably because it's got white text in it and things like that. So I'm going to show you all how design ideas and perspectives work. Because what I find is, in fact, actually I'll try it if I still got that one open. It doesn't save it, apparently. Let me try it. How's this for a live demo? This could be tragic. Love it. Lost. What do you need to top it? Oh, great TV show. I wasn't thinking of that, but that's cool. Let's give it a go. I lost many hours of my life to that TV show. I don't want to talk about it. Way too many. All right, so let's have a look. Let's try and pull these out. Ooh, that's one. Oh, he was creepy. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. So let's try and drop those into a new presentation. Yeah, so I've got the same thing, right? I'm so glad I've worked this out before. This is cool. Right, so you can actually see all the stuff's there, but it's lost the formatting. So what you can do is just whip up the design ideas, which is here, and completely reinvigorate it. So if we look here, you can actually see all the contents that you saw before. You might lose the old slide design you had, but you might be able to come up with a better one. And you'll see now all the contents there that was on the other one. If we just look at them side by side. Let's have a look side by side. Which one was that? Contents. Exactly the same contents is there. It's just formatted in a slightly different way. And I think if I scrolled enough, I'd potentially find this design again. But if we look here, I've completely lost it, and here's another way to look at it. So that was a really good segue and a showcase of what design ideas can do to fix things. Oops. Is there any questions waiting before I jump onto design ideas and perspectives? Because I know I'm flying around a bit.
There are no questions, but I do want to say I love the use of Ben and Lost.
Oh, yes, I'm so glad someone brought that up. It's so great. However, I just saw his face and it totally creeped me out. He was scary. Oh, look, oh, and look, they even put links in as well. I was thinking that someone was losing their format, but when that came up, I was like, yeah, that's totally what I was going for. Oh, yes. Anyway, so design ideas and perspectives. We've kind of just seen a bit of it, but basically the clue is you hit design and you hit design ideas. It's pretty great. So this is obviously driven by AI, and it's pretty damn cool. It's really underrated, and depending on what you put on the slides, depends on what you get out. So sometimes it's really, really nice, and sometimes they look a bit naff. So one of the things I noticed on my company laptops, I didn't have this awesome button. So I was restricted to maybe 6 or 7 options. But if you go to PowerPoint online, you will have this button. Because I stripped this laptop back and rebuilt it with no company policy, latest updates, I can just keep generating design ideas until the cows come home. I'm going to go back to the old one because it's getting stuck in some naff ideas now. It thinks I like the squares and the yuck. And you can just keep saying, no, I don't like it. Make me some more ideas. And you can be there all day long. And then you get down the rabbit hole of having no idea what design you actually wanted to show in the first place. So if you're not getting design ideas or you don't like the 6 it's given you, my best advice is go online. So it's not just title slides that you can do it with. So it looks at the layout you're using and it comes up with intelligent things based on this layout. So there's another area I really like, which is around the smart art. So if you've got something like I think this one's one is title and content, if you put in a couple of bullet points, it creates some really cool stuff. This is just literally from looking at the words that I'm doing. Sometimes the words are a little bit off. Quite often, I've had a few presentations that mention Mr. Clippy, and it suggested the icon should be a Bitcoin icon. It's not always foolproof, but it's still pretty cool. And if you don't like the icons, you can change them. So if we come to the Smart Art Design, right click, change the graphic. You can go from a file, image, icon, and change them if you don't like them. And there's so many ways you can make one thing show up. Another really nice thing is what it does with images. So you've got an image you want to show, but also I've got 4 images and I've just chucked them on the slide. What a mess. And it sorts them all out for you. It sorts them in so many ways. It can do really cool layering, sizing it up. It's pretty nifty. And all you've got to do is get your content and chuck it on the slide. It gets better though, right? So this blew my mind. It's also got something called design perspectives. So this basically, I can't think of it, they do such a great description. It looks at the words that you're saying, and when you're trying to express statistics, it gives you something likened to the big number you're trying to explain. Like 30,000 feet is pretty meaningless. But if we look in the design perspectives, it's a little bit temperamental, but usually at least one of them will have this here. And it's worked out that 30,000 feet is about the height of Mount Everest. And now that puts into perspective how high the commercial plane is flying. And I didn't even have to Google that. They did it for me. So this one's quite a popular demonstration that you'll see when you Google it. And I had some trouble finding ones that are the ones. So there's a few other designs I spat out for the commercial planes, and some are pretty nice, some are pretty terrible, but that one's pretty nice. Even better now. Also, it's spat in a little video. So if I play this in the slideshow, switch it around. It's actually dropped in a video in the background, which I think is pretty awesome. I did absolutely nothing but write 6 words on a slide. What else does it do apart from tell me how high commercial planes fly? How about a pizza has 400 calories? It's pretty sad. Well, let's have a look what Design Perspective thinks of my calorific pizza. That is about 32 minutes of running. And it even threw in the icon. Flippin' heck. Blew my mind. Right, I'll show you one more. You probably all just like, yeah, we get it, whatever. So Farmer Joe owns 120 acres of land, which is about half the floor size of the Pentagon. If you don't speak farm, you might speak Pentagon. Flippin' fantastic. So there's one more bit to this, and this is around the company branding. So it's all great having these snazzy jazzy backgrounds, but if you're doing a presentation for your company, you sometimes have to keep it in line with the brand. But it's okay, because we can do this. So I'm just going to pull up my DXC template, which is our company branding template. And actually what it does when I kick off the design ideas is that it's going to suggest me design ideas which respect the templates that I've got. It's much more boring, but it's still pretty impressive. So all of a sudden my intro slides dropped in this great image that he's pulled up from somewhere else. So I think it's pulled the image from here and gone, hey, do you know what? I reckon I can squeeze that in the title there, and just kind of makes things a little bit more exciting. It's still on brand, we're still in line with the branding, but it's just a little bit more exciting. So I've got to really, oh, it doesn't know what to do with this one. So sometimes it freaks out, doesn't know what to do with your content. Let's have a look if I can fix this. Let's try title, slide, and content. No. Doesn't like my image, I guess. So I will go over this in just a second about why it's saying no. I've not managed to work out this one though. Maybe it's that. Yeah. See, sometimes he just goes, I don't know what to do with that. And it doesn't know what to do with it. So for example, if you've got too many text boxes, that's one of the things it falls over on. But here I've got a really boring slide with an image and some text, and all of a sudden it's much nicer formatted. And I'm still in line with my brand guidelines, except the box that I just deleted. So why can't I get suggested design ideas? There's a few things. I'm just going to jump back into, and look at this. It's already improved my slide like 700 times. Stop shaming me. I'm going to jump back into my summary zoom into proper presenter mode. So there's quite a few reasons why. Oh God, look at these. Crikey. So many slides. So there's some slides that it can't deal with yet. If you haven't got a layout, then it sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes it just can't come up with a good idea, so it just doesn't say anything, which is something we can all take from. If you ain't got nothing good to say, just don't say anything. If someone else is co-editing the slides, if you're working online, it turns off. And I completely fobbed myself off with this one because I had it open on my desktop and in online, and I thought I'd somehow maxed out the design idea usage. But actually it's because someone's co-editing, it turns off the design ideas. If you draw shapes or text boxes, sometimes it doesn't know what to do with it. And sometimes it can't deal with more than 4 photos. Or if your images are smaller than 200 by 200. So there's a few things that catch it out, but generally it handles it pretty well. I'm quite impressed. I'm going to pause and make sure there's no questions around the design ideas before I carry on. Because that was a lot to take in.
There are no questions at this point.
Awesome. Everyone's feeling horrendously seasick and overwhelmed. Great. Okay, so for this next one, I'm going to have to move to online. So like I said, sometimes you have features in one place and not in another. And one of those is live presentations. Oh, amazing. And I think I could do it on desktop. Again, And this is one that might be restricted by your company. I had some problems again without my stripped down version. So let me check if I can do it on here. Slideshow, present online. Nope. You might be able, I think on some laptops I've been able to, and on some, oh, here we go, yes, present online. So you'll get a little button here. You might see more than a couple of options because I believe you can now present online via Stream if you have a Stream license, Microsoft Stream. But what this does is pretty cool. Obviously, right now we're in Teams, so we don't really need it. But what I can do is share this presentation, and what this is going to do is generate a link and a QR code that I can share with anyone. So I don't need their email address to invite them to my Teams. I can literally just spam this link out on social media to whoever I want, and they can come in and join this presentation. It's going to take a little while, so I should have maybe kicked this off first. But there's also some really cool things it can do as well. So they can, as a watcher of the presentation, you can choose what subtitles you want. So you can set the language to what you need. You can also zoom in from a mobile device, and you can also flick ahead in the slide deck when the presenter's talking, which I think is really awesome. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, can you go back to that slide, Jeff? You don't need to anymore. You can just do it yourself while Jeff carries on talking. Hopefully this loads, and I can show you what it does. There is also apparently a way for them to give feedback and live reactions. So let's see if we can do it. Might be a bit like going into the Matrix, or I might have to leave it to your imagination. Here we go. So I've got a little link. Can I post this? There isn't a chat, is there? Can I post this as a question? And then I'm going to let Lauren push it out. See if that works. If anyone wants to join it, and we'll try it out. So I'm going to try and join this on my, I should have made an announcement. Sorry, I've just realized Teams allows you to send an announcement. So let's have a look at what this looks like. So I've just gone in using the browser, and because obviously, let's go sidey, because I've not started my presentation yet, it's telling the person to wait for the presentation to start. So we can see here, waiting for it to begin, presentation hasn't begun. And when I kick it off, it's going to show you that, and you're not going to be able to see. Let's have a look. How do I show you both? Ooh, should think about that one, don't I? Oh. Isn't it ironic that Microsoft Edge doesn't support Microsoft doesn't support Edge? Anyway, in theory, that's what it does, and it's pretty cool. I did have a play on my phone. I joined on my mobile, actually, when I tried it out, and it was pretty jazzy because you could just go ahead and look through the slides and do what you want. So I'm going to leave that one for homework for people to explore. Unless people, I'm going to leave that live, so when I go to my presentation, you might be able to join from home and see it if you're not using Microsoft Edge. Oh, the irony. No. Okay, so live presentations, pretty cool. Gets rid of that need for Teams or Zoom or anything else. You can literally present and share it to the world. Any questions at this point before I move to my wrap up of the other awesome things I couldn't talk about and room for questions?
There are a couple of questions. Someone says, I think the context is lost here a bit. When it freaks out, do you just select the items and choose a new design idea layout?
When it freaks out. Oh, is that when it was, well, when we're talking about the copy and paste?
Possibly.
I think that's to do with the copy and paste. So I don't know how to get it to copy and paste with the design ideas in play, but all I tend to do is I'll go through them and just apply a new design idea. And generally the one that I choose is better than the one it gave me anyway. I didn't want it anyway.
And someone has just said, just to clarify, you have to pre-select items first to get design ideas options?
Pre-select the items. So it just shows you the design ideas for the slide you're working on. So whichever slide you're looking at, it's going to give you ideas for. Sometimes the bar will disappear. It'll pop out or pop in, but it's just here in home design ideas, and it looks at whatever slide you're on. And then also if you start changing it, for example, it goes away and says, while you're working on it, it'll regenerate every time you do something. So every time you move around on that slide, it'll update based on the context. So whatever slide you're looking at, it'll come up with ideas for it.
And Tim has said about the can closed options be recorded in the presentation. No, it doesn't seem so. The option disappears when you record. When playing the recording, the closed caption option appears, but it doesn't pick up the recorded audio. It only picks up the live microphone pickup. That's my understanding of it as well.
Okay.
The closed captions are for live only.
Right, yeah, understand. Thank you very much, Tim / Laurent, for that one. Didn't even need to go away and Google it myself. Thank you so much. It's a start, right? Ooh. Oh, apparently the online presentation makes things a little bit slow over here. Resuming my online presentation. If you don't have good broadband speed, don't run an online presentation. Oh, yikes. Okay, I might have broken the online presentation, so sorry for anyone that was looking at that. It's a nice theory. So I'm going to move on to my last section of our beautiful agenda, which is around other cool stuff and further reading, because there's heaps more I could have talked about, but I didn't want to overwhelm you with too much fun for one day. So I'm just going to briefly talk about these 4, and I'm not going to dive into too much detail. So the first one is power of the pen. You can actually turn your stylus pen into a presenter clicker. So you don't need to go and buy a snazzy one. As long as it's Bluetooth enabled, you go forward with 1 click and you click and hold to go back. I did try and find my stylus pen, but it's broken. But that's pretty cool to know. PowerPoint has an accessibility checker. I found this quite interesting because if you need your PowerPoint to be accessible for people to read, it probably shouldn't be a PowerPoint, but I know that's controversial. But it has a PowerPoint, an accessibility checker, and it goes through and pulls out all the errors around missing alternative text for images, whether if you're using a video, you need to make sure you've got captions, etc., etc. For me, I'm not using my presentation to give to people to read, so I haven't made sure it's accessible. But that is there if you want to. There's also someone who wrote, Peter Myers wrote an article on LinkedIn, which tells you more about how you can dig more into accessibility for PowerPoint as well. It also has a really nice feature that automatically generates alternative text for your images. You don't even have to write them yourself, which is pretty handy because it's really boring. You're like, it's an image. But it's all very valuable stuff. Okay. Accessibility checker done. Here is another one from my lovely friend Alice Drummond. You can make videos in PowerPoint. It absolutely blew my mind. So she's done a really cool 5-minute video of how you can build videos in PowerPoint, and it is super simple. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying a video editing software. You can add audio, you can add screen recordings, you can trim things, and you export it as a video. Who even knew that PowerPoint could make videos? Blew me away. And the final one for today, if you're not already horrendously overwhelmed, is the presenter coach. So this is pretty cool, and someone really cool did a presentation about this at Microsoft May. It was me. So I did actually a session at this at the start of the month. If anyone wants to go back, it's a nice quick 15-minute session that showcases the presenter coach. Essentially what it is, you can only get it in PowerPoint online. You turn it on when you're about to present, and it gives you feedback in real time. It tells you about your pace, your pitch, your filter word, whether you're using filler words, and also things like culturally sensitive terms. It's really, really interesting. And at the end, it spits out a really nice report like the one you can see here, telling you what was good, what was bad, and where you can improve. I recommend you go and check it out. It calls you out for all those ums and ahs and really helps you to address them without having to learn the hard way when you go back and look at a recording of yourself and go, oh my gosh, the word has been exhausted. So I highly recommend you check out that session, or just give it a go yourself. Stick it on, have a play. And that is the end of this. Oh no, we're not going around again. Yikes, steady on Zoom. This is when you need to learn this slide transitions. And now you all feel sick. Any questions?
Someone has asked, does PowerPoint Online have the same features as PowerPoint Desktop?
No. I'd love to have done this presentation in just one of them, but I don't think I could have got away with it. So I know that for a fact, Rehearsal Coach is only an online. Some things are only an online depending on which laptop I'm using, but actually now I've stripped this one back and just installed it pure and simple, and also based on a US instance, because all the new stuff goes to the US first. So I've got a US instance of Office 365 on a stripped back laptop, and I get pretty much everything. I think the only thing I can't do in desktop with that version is a Rehearsal Coach, but quite often things will come out in online first before they come down to the desktop.
Another person has asked, is PowerPoint becoming like Sway or vice versa? Are there specific reasons to use PowerPoint or Sway? Sorry, I haven't used Sway, just heard about it.
Yeah, I don't know what Sway is, so I can't really answer that question. Do you know what Sway is?
Yes,
oh, yeah, please.
I use Sway all the time and absolutely love it. Sway is an online presentation solution, but it's not the same as PowerPoint. PowerPoint is not becoming like Sway and vice versa. They have different purposes. So Sway is more like about creating online stories, journals, publications, those kind of things. So think of them more like newsletters, reports, kind of web pages. Me personally, actually, and I've got a blog post about it. And sorry, don't mean to plug my own stuff. I'm not promoting. I actually got a blog post with a video that shows how you use design ideas in PowerPoint and then put it into a Sway.
Nice, that's cool. I'm going to go read it. Thank you.
Also, Sway is very heavily used by the Parliamentary Budget Office of Victoria, so you can actually publish straight from Word to a Sway. So if you go to pbo.vic.gov.au, all of their 2018 election reports are all Sways on their website.
Wow, that's cool. I learned something new today. Thank you.
Someone has asked, apologies, a question about the summary page and creating the Zoom feature. I missed it.
Oh, that's okay. I can jump back to it because I've got a Zoom. Oh, wait, no, because I've broken my Zoom. Let's have a look. Meow. So how do we do it? That was in the slide Zoom. How do I do it? So you literally go to Insert, Zoom, and you choose which one you want to do. It's that simple. And then it will pop up with a thing. So for example, if you say Summary Zoom, it'll ask you to select the first slide of each section. You need to create sections. So on the left where all your slides show, you create sections for your slides. So just right click, create section, and then you section up the slides. And that creates each section of the summary Zoom. Super simple. Has Lauren fallen asleep? Or have we been cut off?
Oh, sorry. No, didn't. I was looking at something I wasn't paying.
That's okay. I'm done.
Someone has just asked if you can post the URL link for the competition, which you've got there.
Yeah, I'll sling back to it now if you want to jump on and grab the QR code, or we can stick it in the chat if you've got it, Lauren.
No, it's kind of a you snooze, you lose. So.
Okay, sorry, I gave an unsnooze, you lose. So
no, that's
quick,
fine.
Wake up, unsnooze. And it's lost.
Andy has said this has been a fantastic session. Best I've seen during M365 May. Well done.
Oh, you're making me blush.
I won't take that personally, given that I've run 2 sessions. You're not the best. I won't take that personally at all.
It was your 2 minutes of information at the end that made it, though.
There are no other questions at this point.
Amazing. In which case, I guess we'll call it a wrap at 1 minute over.